Now, when you're creating an offer, very similar to any other course offer, but the complication is if you do have funded students accessing VET student loan, sometimes the funding cap is lesser than your course enrollment fees. So the student may not be able to offer, paying everything up front. So they may choose to take VET student loan if they are eligible for it. So in that case, obviously the EVITMIS details that you put against the course offer is going to change. Now for VET student loan, it's mandatory for you to kind of report all the students who are eligible for VET student loan. Irrespective of they're taking a loan, not taking a loan, doesn't matter. If they're eligible, then you have to report it to HEPCAT, right? Now, to make it easier and not complicate, the initial course offer that I'm creating for you, I'm just going to take the students as fee for service, all right? None of them are funded, but they're eligible for VET student loan. So I'm going to create an offer code. So let's say it's for 2018. Advanced Diploma of Business for VET student loan. So as soon as you look at your offer, it needs to tell you what kind of an offer it is. So as soon as you look at it, it's Advanced Diploma of Business, VET student loan offered in 2018. Right? Let's put the status as active. It's currently being taught. And the offering start could be the 1st of July. So let's say we're starting a new batch. And until the 31st of the 12th, 2018. Now, what the offering start and end is telling you is that, any student who enrolls within this time period, within the next 6 months, is going to be put into the same course offer. If you have a student starting in 2019, then you will copy the course offer and create another one for 2019, all right? Now, I'm kind of, creating a rolling intake in here just to show you how you manage rolling intakes for VET student loan. But most of you guys may have like specific intakes for VET student loan because you don't want to change the census dates, because you have to publish the census dates on your website. That's a mandatory rule again. So you may have just, specific intake dates and specific census dates. In that case, your offering start and end will be the exact start and end of your course, all right? But in this case, I'm just going to take it as a random rolling intake. Let's say I'm expecting around 100 students, a minimum of 1. You can choose the coordinator, not mandatory, but you can put that in there. Course offer type, you can create your own customized drop-downs by going into settings and drop-down lists if required. The language taught is in English, and it's a 12-month full-time study course. All right, now scroll down. I'm going to skip the online enrollment bit. So with the EVITMIS defaults, now as I said, the VET student loan is just another layer on top of your EVITMIS reporting. Because it's a VET course, you have to do both your EVITMIS reporting as well as your HEPCAT reporting. And if you're funded, obviously these students are reported every month to the state government as well as to HEPCAT for your VET student loan reporting. If you're fee for service, then you just have to stick to your NCVER rules and just, send your students to NCVER once a year or every quarter, whatever suits you. Now, if we put the for EVITMIS tick on, the program status and the contract type, that's mandatory if you're funded, so we'll ignore that bit. The commencing course identifier, it'll be a number 3 because they're commencing enrollment in the new qualification. The study reason may vary per student, so I prefer putting that information at the student level, so you can leave that blank. Put in the study mode, so it's full-time. Choose the location. You don't have to do the AV7 anymore because it's EVITMIS 8 from 2018, so I'm just going to put in the EVITMIS 8. So let's say it's completely classroom-based, so we go internal. The funding source national. Because it's a fee-for-service course offer, I'm just going to go with 20 domestic full fee paying client. And the funding source state. So according to the state that you're going to deliver in, you will be picking up the appropriate funding source state. Of course, the training schedules as well. And fee exemption can be left blank if it's fee for service, but if you want to just put in a none, that'll work as well. So this is a basic thing that you have to complete for a fee for service course offer, all right? Now, the unit training detail, up to you. If the trainer and assessor is going to be the same for all the units that you're delivering within the course, you can put that in, otherwise just leave it blank. Now, under the fees, there are a couple of things that you require for your ECAF integration. The first thing that you require is the course fees. So let's say the course fees for the advanced step of business is 12,000, but the loan cap is only 10 grand. So what the student can get as a loan from the government for this particular course could just be 10,000, what the government has allocated. But if you're charging 12,000, so the remaining 2,000 would be an upfront fees that you will be charging your students. All right. This is very crucial because when you actually send that enrollment to ECAF, they will be sending out the application to the student to complete, and all this information is going to be contained in there. I'm sure you'll have all these fee structures published on your website, but still, just to make it easier for your students, the ECAF application also has the same information, so they know the 2,000 is going to be an upfront payment that they have to make to you. All right. So the course fees and the ECAF is important. Scroll all the way down and click save. That's all you require. Now the next step is to create your unit offers. So click on unit offers, go action, add or edit unit selection. So in your case, it will be a lot easier because you would have enabled your core and elective for your courses. So you know exactly what to choose. Just for the demo purposes, I'm going to randomly choose 10 units in here and save it. So they automatically inherit the start and end date from the course offer. Now, if the trainer and assessor, you already know who's been allocated for what unit, you can set it as a default. So you can pick and choose your units, go under the action and set defaults. And you can set defaults with the start and end dates, with any of this information. Could be like the assessment method, the trainer, assessor, all these different things. And once you've completed that, the next step is to create your units of study. That's what is crucial for your VET student loan. So let's say for the Advanced Diploma of Business, you have split the units into 4 different units of study. So go action, add unit of study. The code and description has to be unique for every unit of study that you create per census date. All right, so we'll go code. I'm just going to make it easier and just call it unit of study 1. And let's say the census date is 20% from the start date. So again, if you don't know how to calculate the census date, there is a census date calculator. So just go into Google and go census date calculator. So they'll pick up the education.gov.au site. And if you click into that link, it'll give you either a Word format or an Excel format of the spreadsheet where you can just put in the start date, end date of the unit, and it'll automatically come up with the census date for you. So all you have to do is put that census date in here. So the formula, they've already put that in there, so it just calculates 20% from the start date of the unit of study. Now, the organizational unit code. So there are many fields in the system that are not mandatory for you to report for VET student loan, but if you do know the codes, you have to report them. So when I come across such fields, what I usually recommend is go into the HIMSS Help website. So go to the data element dictionary. So look for the 2018 data elements and scroll down to find the VET data collection. You can either search by file, by name or number. I usually go by name. And, again, Control F or Command F just to find that organizational unit code. Pick that up. So if you go into any element, it's going to have the coding notes. So we have predefined certain things for you in the export just to make it easier, but just for your knowledge to know how we find things. So if you go under the coding notes, always look for VET only. So under the VET only, it'll tell you if it's required, not required. If it is required, then what's the code to be reported. So in this case, the organizational unit code is not applicable for VET student loan, but they say you need to report the code AOU. So any unit of study that you create in the system, it'll have the same code, you just have to report AOU, right? So under the organizational unit code, we got AOU. The field of education will be the same. You would know this better according to your courses. The equivalent full-time study load. Now, if I've equally distributed the units amongst those 4 units of study, because my full-time study load for the course is 1, I know that per unit of study is going to be 0.25. So you just have to calculate it depending on the hours and what is the full-time study load the student's going to incur per unit of study. All right, and let's say I'm charging a full fee of 3,000 and the credit or RPO fee is 0, and you pick and choose what are the different units that goes under this unit of study and go save. Now let's say that because it's a rolling intake, I know the first intake is the 1st of July and the census date for the unit of study 1 is the 17/8. Now you can enroll all the students into the same unit of study and change the census date against the student. That's possible. Or another way is for you to copy this unit of study and create the same for a different census date. And when you enroll your students, you can pick and choose which census date you want to put the student into. All right. When you're doing this, I always recommend you to have a unique code. Otherwise, it's really hard for you to know which census date you're putting the student into. So if this is a November intake, I would just go November URS1. So it's just unique for that particular unit of study then. Or I'm just going to leave it as 1 and I can show you how you change the census date when you actually go into the student. We can add another unit of study for the unit of study 2. We can choose the units accordingly. And then if you are having, especially like with courses like aged care, children's services and early childhood education, you may have units that are like, let's say 200 hours, and they may get split between 2 different units of study. If that's the case, remember to come into the profiles under my account, go into settings, and there's something called advanced unit grouping. You need to enable the advanced unit grouping setting. So put this on. So what this does is it allows you to offer that unit of competency against multiple units of study. So it'll allow you to choose the same units that you chose in the last unit of study, even in the second unit of study. Basically, that's what it does. And then you save. So once you've created all the different units of study, it'll all stay in here ready for you to enroll your students.